Off-Roading, and welcome to one of the PBR garages. Behind me is my 1992 Toyota pickup truck that I've been building. I'm right in the middle of it, so let's jump in. So last time I went wheeling, I broke a shock mount off this part of the axle right here. You can see the remnants of the welds left on it. And this over here is the shock mount for the other side. So I'm going to start today by cutting this shock mount off and grinding these welds smooth. Alright, that didn't take too long. Axle's nice and prepped, the welds are all ground down smooth. Next on my list is to start prepping the frame to remount this axle. When I had the engine out, I had the truck on a lift, and I noticed that when the truck dropped forward, or when the axle dropped down, it moved forward, and it would push the drive shaft into the back of the transfer case. So my solution to that is to move the axle back about 2 inches, so that way when the axle drops down all the way, it does not fully compress the drive shaft into the transfer case. In case you're wondering why it does that, these leaf springs are out of a 94 F-150 in the rear of the truck, and the way that they are set up is the arch path for them. As the axle drops down, it moves forward. So I have to remedy that now that I finally have this axle out and all the mounts cut off. Alright guys, I have my frame all cleaned up. It's ready for the mounts to be welded. I've got my mounts all cleaned up. They're ready to go back on the frame. Now I've got my axle sitting on jack stands. I'm going to locate it. I've got marks on my frame for all the mounts where they need to be. So I'm going to locate the axle. I'm going to clamp all the mounts to the frame. I'm going to double check all my measurements, checking my wheelbase. It should be right around 104, 104 and a half. Closer look of the frame all cleaned up, the mounts cut off of it. Here's my marks here and here for the back. Marks there for the front. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've got pretty much the mounts right where they're gonna go. Stretches right at 2 inches. I double checked my wheelbase and I'm right at 104. Alright guys, that's all for this episode. If you liked it, check back with us next time. We're going to be welding those mounts to the frame and get that rear axle mounted back underneath the truck for good. After that, we're going to be welding some shock mounts to the axle and locating some shocks to the frame as well. And then coming up soon, we're going to be pulling the front axle out of the truck and changing the pinion angle with some shims for it. So I'll see you guys then. Stay tuned.